You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
Fin fans, Go Time Dolphin fans, we are days away from the 2024 NFL draft. We are hours, I'm talking probably like 24 hours away from Touche's 24. So you have to be around for that 100%. Before I introduce the creator of Touche's 24, just a few housekeeping things. Comment on this YouTube video saying draft to enter the Dolphins hat giveaway. We'll be giving away the Miami Dolphins 2024 draft hat. So comment draft if you haven't already. If you are a Patreon subscriber, you are automatically entered into that giveaway. But Charlie Touche, how are you?
This is Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. I got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. Kadeem, Touche's 24 is imminent. It is about to drop. It is about to release. We're going to get it. I think this may have been the latest release of Touche's 24. Like typically we put it out a couple weeks, and then last year I think we put it like a week before. Now we're days before. So we might get an episode. I don't know, because me and you didn't really talk about it, but we might get a special Tuesday episode. We don't know yet. Tuesday episode, and that episode would be Touche's Tuesday 24. Right? I don't know. You gotta get the wordplay. You feel me? Tuesday, Touche's 24. Anyone who doesn't know what Touche's 24 list is, 24 is, I picked 24 of the best. Let me take that back. 24 NFL draft prospects that are under the radar and I believe can be household names. Some players that I've hit on before in the past, Miami Dolphins own Devon Achane, or friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, another Miami Dolphin, 20K Cam Smith.
Yeah, you had to think about that one.
So 20K Cam Smith, we still don't know if he's going to pan out or not, but I believe he was on Touche's 24 for a reason. He's going to be nice. So when the Dolphins selected him, I had no doubts about him. Everybody else still have their doubts, and I understand that. We had some really good players on Touche's 24. And you know what? You just check out the socials and see. Hey, matter of fact, Kadeem, who are some of the players? Just a couple. Name a couple players that I did not name from Touche's 24 that you could remember that, you know what, that was a pretty good hit right there.
We had, was it Michael Carter was on?
Yeah, Michael Carter was on there.
I don't know if Rondell Moore was on there, but I feel like you spoke about Rondell Moore quite a lot.
Rondell Moore was on there. I love Rondell Moore. Hey, Rondell Moore with the Atlanta. So that could be interesting. Rondell Moore, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Kirk Cousins. That sounds like a fantasy football team right there. So that could be interesting.
No, sorry, very quickly. I know this is Go Time Dolphins, but did you see the rumor that the Falcons tampered with Kirk Cousins and they might be losing the draft pick?
Bro, listen. This is why it's on Go Time Dolphins. Because the Patriots tampered. I think Washington tampered, and now Atlanta tampered, and no one's losing more picks than the Miami Dolphins, bro. I don't appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? We lost. You know, we don't have a third-round pick this year, Kadeem. Did you know?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's
Do you know why we don't have a third-round pick this year, Kadeem?
Because Brian Flores started talking. Like,
oh no. That's victim shaming. Nah, it's because of Stephen Ross tampering.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I was saying, like, no, you can't blame the person who outed us. That's messed up, bro.
No, it's messed up. But like, Stephen Ross tampered. No one knew about it. And then Brian Flores started talking. Listen, I don't blame him because no, Bill Belichick essentially not cost him a job, but Bill Belichick. Listen, we can get into all of that later down the line, but yeah, Dolphins have no 3rd or 4th round pick, which is why everyone wants us to draft back to get some of those later round picks. Also, very quickly, so shout out to everyone in the comments. Jason Keck has commented draft, as has IMAX. JML says, "What's up, fellas?" The Great Fins fan says, "Yo." IMAX obviously said, "Good afternoon, Kadeem, Charlie, and chat." And then Jason has said some stuff about offensive and defensive line, but we will get to that shortly.
Kadeem, man, I think we're on 2 separate sides of the fence when it comes to what our draft needs are for this year's Miami Dolphins. We talked about it at length. Maybe not long enough though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is draft week. I think you can feel the energy from draft week. Shout out to the missus. You know what I'm saying? The missus of the podcast, Hannah Montana, Kadeem's newly wedded wife. That is what's up. My dog got a wife over here. The Miami Dolphins did not get a ring last year, but my dog Kadeem did. Gotta love it. Hey, we got the ring on that. We got the ring. Hey, we got a ring. All right, man. All right. But yeah, man, Kadeem, something that we didn't talk about. What would be a surprise if the Miami Dolphins came out in the first round and said, "Hey, this is our pick," and nothing egregious, not a kicker, not a punter. What position would surprise you? And not a DB either. We had plenty of conversation about Dolphins going DB. But what would surprise you? And actually, you said DB wouldn't surprise you, actually. But what would surprise you if the Dolphins chose to go in a particular position? What position would that be if the Dolphins drafted this year?
I think, honestly, nothing would surprise me, but I guess wide receiver would be the one that I would expect the least, if that makes sense. And not because I don't think the Dolphins need a wide receiver. I just think the consensus is that you could probably get a good wide receiver in the 2nd round, if that makes sense. I think any position the Dolphins go in the 1st round is a massive, massive need. I don't think we can sit here and go, "Oh, that's a surprise," if that makes sense. Like, they're not going to go running back. So yeah, if anything, running back's the only position where I'd be like, that's a massive surprise.
So for you to say they're not going to go somewhere, if they went running back, it would be a surprise for you.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right, so I'm going to go with the obvious position, and it's not good for podcasting. But actually, it might be good for podcasting and Dolphins Twitter. If the Dolphins went quarterback, bro, 1st round, I might not be able to do an episode for like a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, and nah, I would do an episode, and then it'll be a long hour rant about how the Dolphins just drafted a quarterback and set us back. But it's not gonna happen. So I would be surprised if it was quarterback. But I think you're onto something. If the Dolphins went running back with how well, Raheem Mostert got some miles on the tires, but you got Devon Achane.
Hold on. Sorry. Did you say miles on the tire?
Miles on the tires, yes.
Isn't it tread on the tires and miles on the clock?
No.
Did you just do a Kadeem and merge 2 sayings? No, you did. You did.
Listen. The reason why I say he has miles on the tires is because there's not many more miles left. Meaning, like, yo, how much longer do we have Raheem Mostert for? There's a lot of miles on these tires, and we're gonna have to change the tires soon. So that's what I meant by miles on the tires. You see what I'm saying? So Raheem Mostert got some miles on the tires, and I'll be real with you. Did you see how swole Devon Achane is right now?
Yo, he came back looking. He looked like Kirk Merritt. You know when you showed me that picture of Kirk Merritt, when Kirk Merritt was looking, whoa!
Shout out to friend of the podcast, Kirk Merritt. One of the favorites on this podcast. And if you're not over the top Dolphin fan, you might not even know who Kirk Merritt is, right? So Kirk Merritt was a practice squad player for the Miami Dolphins. Maybe played in 2 games total. I think he played in 2 games, dressed twice, and got 1 target, maybe 2 targets. He potentially got 2 targets, but he dropped one of them.
Yeah.
And then you could see how dejected he was on the field. My dog, Kurt Merritt. So Kurt Merritt ended up getting waived by the Dolphins and picked up by the New Orleans Saints and had him, and they listed him as a running back. Bro, Kurt Merritt looked like he was on the sauce. It looked like he was on all kind of stuff that you're not supposed to be taking in the NFL, and somehow, some way, this man was on the King Henry. What's your boy? Derrick Henry, bruh. Like he was on the Derrick Henry regime, and he came back super swole. And that's what Devon Achane looked like he's on. And I ain't gonna lie to you, Kadeem, when I was in the gym and I was throwing up like 225 4 times, and I was just happy about my 4 times, bro. I didn't understand why I wasn't seeing results. Now, granted, I'm not out here like that. But Devon Achane, bro, it's time to up your t-shirt size, bro, because that shirt did not even fit no more. It's like you got that shirt a year ago and you was still trying to fit in it. You don't fit in that shirt no more, bro. But shout out to you, Devon Achane, put on some muscle for real.
That t-shirt. This is the nerd in me. It's like in the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, where like he obviously gets bit by the spider. And the next morning he wakes up and like his body changed. As I felt like Devon Achane, he woke up next morning just swole and was like, I have nothing else to wear. So I put on his t-shirt. But yeah, I reckon that bulkiness which has happened to him can only benefit the Dolphins. If he can keep that speed, which I don't think he lost the speed. You know, sometimes you add muscle when you kind of lose a bit of speed. If Achane can keep that speed, but also get a bit more, I guess, sturdier, it's only good for the Dolphins and, you know, terrifying for the rest of the league. It's going to be mental.
I do not see Achane losing that speed, bro. So him getting juiced up, maybe that's not the proper term.
That's not the word
I should be using. But for Mostert to come, I said Mostert, for Devon Achane to come back jacked up, bro. I think there's a chance he takes the RB1 spot, and I don't think that's like far fetched. I think Devon Achane is the RB1 for the Miami Dolphins. So back to the original question, yeah, I'll be surprised if the Dolphins go running back. Now, would I be surprised if the Dolphins go running back somewhere in the draft? Not at all. Shout out to Chris Brooks, someone else who was a favorite here on this podcast. Running back Chris Brooks got hurt in the season. He looked like he was going to be a promising prospect for the Dolphins. So the running back room might be a fun room to watch this season, but not for the draft, I don't believe. Now, again, maybe we go running back in the later rounds. And I ain't going to lie to you, there is a running back on Tuesdays 24 that I really, really, really hope the Dolphins get. Because if they get this running back, and he's not a first round pick, he will be there for waiting for us in every round after the first. But we're not gonna say his name, but we will say it on Tuesday's 24 episode, and that's how you drop a cliffhanger, Kadeem.
Yeah, 100%. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, got your notifications turned on so you do not miss that. Wingstop just arrived. I can smell the Wingstop in my nostrils. I'm just like, but I'm gonna be professional. I'm gonna keep on going.
Hey, what did you get from Wingstop? What flavor?
Hannah, what flavor did I get from Wingstop today?
Barbecue and Korean.
Yeah, I got like some spicy Korean, I think it was. Yeah, I thought it makes up a bit. Shout out to Jason Keck, says a little waterweight. It's not like he looks like Tyreek Hill. Hey, Chad. And then,
he said waterweight now, bro. That is not waterweight. I promise you that.
Shout out to DC Kai Kid over on Twitter. Long time no speak. Says even if you lose some speed, he has way more to spare than a lot of backs.
I agree 100%. DC Kai Kid, man, we got to get you back on the podcast.
Yeah, anime talk alone. Like we need anime talk. Charlie, did you see the Drew Rosenhaus interview I sent you earlier?
I did see the interview, Kadeem.
So for those who don't know, he's an agent, one of the biggest NFL agents. It feels like half of his clients are with the Miami Dolphins. Very well connected with the Dolphins. They get on really, really well. So Drew basically said the Dolphins are not going running back quarterback or running back in round one. So, myself and Charlie both said if they do that, it will be an ultimate surprise because I think even Chris Greer said they are not going quarterback in round 1. So if that happens, something has gone horribly wrong. And I don't even want to think about what could go wrong between now and Thursday night. But you also mentioned a few players who the Dolphins are, I don't think it's right to say looking at, but have been mentioned at pick 21. He mentioned one offensive lineman, 2 defensive ends, and a wide receiver. Before we name those people, what did you make of what Drew said overall?
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I thought it struck me as an informant. You know, when the cop arrests someone, and you got this CI, and he just starts singing and he starts snitching. He starts saying everything. I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I hope this is smoke, Drew, because you rapping right now, bro. He had a lot of stuff, and it was like a 2-minute clip, but he said a lot. I'm like, nah, bro, I don't appreciate this coming from Drew Rosenhaus, an agent. Now, I hope all of it is erroneous. You know what I'm saying? Because he seemed pretty like, oh yeah, I'm saying this, and I'm saying it with my chest. So, you didn't get that vibe, Kadeem? You didn't feel like, yo, what, like, you just gonna spill the beans?
It's an odd one because the names he mentioned. So yes, he mentioned Graham Barton, the offensive lineman who can play essentially anywhere across the offensive line, but probably going to play either center or guard at the next level. Mentioned Jared Verse and Latu, the 2 defensive ends, and then the wide receiver was Xavier Worthy. I feel like all 4 of those players have been mocked to the Dolphins multiple times.
I agree.
So at that point, I was like, well, you haven't mentioned a name that I haven't heard. But also, the thing with mock drafts is that they're not factual. It's people just going, well, you know what? I can see, people doing, I can see the Dolphins doing this person doing all that kind of stuff. For Drew Rosen has to say their name, just like, no, dude, what are you doing? Like, even though they've been mocked to the Dolphins,
Yeah,
don't give credence to those mocks. Like, there's no need for it because even if there's 1% of truth to anything he said, you've now just essentially given the rest of the NFL your draft tactic. So if Graham Barton is sitting there at 18 or 19 and the Dolphins are getting ready to hand in their card, it takes any team to go, no, I'm moving to 20. I'm grabbing Graham Barton before the Dolphins do it.
Not only that, it just for next season and every season after that, if Drew Rosenhaus says something and this one was kind of factual, then now everyone, oh yeah, Drew Rosenhaus was right before. He could be right again. So now let's act on it. Did you catch Bill Belichick, former New England Patriot head coach, on Pat McAfee show saying he used to listen to the mock drafts? So whenever you got your Jeremy Jeremiah from NFL Network and your Mel Kipers from ESPN and wherever Todd McShay is nowadays, shout out to my dog Todd McShay. But Bill Belichick said, yeah, people in the NFL actually watch and listen to these mock drafts because the people who do the mock drafts, the credentialed people who do the mock drafts, they have their sources. Some of them legitimate, some illegitimate. So what NFL teams do is listen to see what kind of leaks are coming out and to determine if they can give them more leaks or good leaks or bad leaks, or, you know what I'm saying, put the smoke out there. But teams do listen to mock drafts and they do hold some weight in some of these NFL buildings. What did you make of that? If you didn't hear that, what do you make of it?
Yeah, it kind of goes to what we said earlier about, mocks having a bit of truth. These guys, they essentially know what they're doing now. I was chatting to 5 Yard Lee on Sunday night, and it was kind of saying how mock drafts are great, they're fun. All it takes is one pick, in the first 5 to completely change every single mock draft. But the fact still remains that, the teams will look and see, okay, well, I told someone that we were looking at this player, and all of a sudden that's now out in the media. So I can't trust this person, but I can also now start telling this person, hey, we're going to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And yeah, in the next few days, you're going to hear some of, I know it's Mike, I said Z and not Z.
It's not why. But back to my snitching analogy, bro. I don't know if you ever seen Miami Vice, the movie. You ever seen Miami Vice, the movie?
I haven't, no.
Of course you haven't, bro, because you're not a movie buff. This guy. Listen, but there's a part in Miami Vice, and basically it was like, yo, we're gonna find out where the leak is. And for the FBI, we're gonna tell them Monday. For the ATF, we're gonna tell them Tuesday. For the DEA, we're gonna tell them Wednesday. For whatever, we're gonna tell them Thursday. And then whenever that leak drops, we know where our leak was and where our sources and who we can't trust and that agency that we have to stay away from. And basically it's almost like the same thing, but for the NFL. So yeah, shout out to IMAX. You know, if you're from Miami, you could really appreciate that movie. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah. I don't think Drew spoke out of turn. I
think he spoke out of turn, but go ahead. I think he did.
Yeah, like I said, the reason I don't think he spoke out of turn is because they are well mocked players. That makes sense. It could be a case of, I guess, if I'm going to merge our two pieces of thinking together, is that they probably said, you know, don't tell no one, and he probably thought, well, everyone already knows. What I'm saying right now isn't a secret. So at that point, it's like, we told you not to tell no one. Essentially, I don't think it's going to ruin the Dolphins' relationship with Drew Rosenhaus, given how many players he has. But it might be a case of, okay, we can't trust Drew to actually keep his mouth shut. So what we'll do, we'll keep on feeding him stuff. When he goes on, podcasts and stuff, he'll say it, and it won't hurt us no more. So it'll be very interesting to see, what the Dolphins do. And I think it's essentially, we had some comments earlier. I think we'll start with Jason's, if you don't mind. He said,
shout out to everybody who rock with us in the comments. It means a lot to us. We bounce stuff off of y'all. You guys bounce stuff off of us. We could go back and forth forever. We rock with everybody who rock with us, man. We rock with all of y'all who don't rock with us too. And there are some people out there, some people who got invited to come to the show or me to go to their show and debate against them, who just don't want the debate smoke. You feel me? But y'all don't gotta rock with us, and it's fine. But go ahead. My bad. Shout out to Jason K.
Jason says, believe me when I say I would love to get a superstar playmaker at edge like Latu, but if they don't address the O-line, will be in the same situation as last year as soon as injuries start. You can hope and pray all you like, but injuries are going to happen, and you've lost Williams/Hunt, and you'll lose Armstead at the end of the year. It has to be offensive line. What do you make of
that? All right. So you asked me what I make of that, but I will say this. I do believe it should be offensive line. But Jason Keck had a comment earlier that I really wanted to bring up on top of that. All the comments you brought up. Shout out to Jason Keck again. He said last year, Chris Greer came out and mocked us, saying the fans are the only ones worried about the offensive line. And who was right? He says, Jason Keck, we were. Fix the O-line, and you might win those games against. I don't know what is it. Actually,
it's in the next comment. He said,
tougher teams and a playoff.
Yeah.
All right, so hear me out, Kadeem. I'm gonna be real with you. I agree that it has to be offensive line. It really should be offensive line, in my opinion. For all the reasons he actually said, Jason Keck said, but I actually think Jason Keck is also wrong. It's crazy how you could be right and wrong in the same sentence, because though I think it should be offensive line, we did lose friend of the podcast, Robert Hunt. Teron Armstead hasn't played a regular season game, entire season, I don't think ever. I could be mistaken. But we do know Devontae Parker has played more games than Teron Armstead in the same amount of seasons. Go figure. So you guys know, as being Dolphin fans, how many games that is or isn't. We lost Connor Williams to injury, and he may come back in the middle of the season, but who knows? He's not under contract. And then your left guard position is in flux. Bro, if there's ever a time that you on paper need offensive line, it is right freaking now. Like, there's no doubt about it. So, in my opinion, I think the Dolphins should go O-line first round, O-line second round. Here's where Jason Keck, in my opinion, is wrong. Because the Miami Dolphins had the second best offense in the league. And the year before, the Miami Dolphins had the 6th best offense in the league. So how do you do that if your O-line is not good enough to allow your team to do that? So yeah, I mean, it's all about ideology. What do you feel? Multiple ways to get to the desired address, right? So, man, I would love to see us to go offensive line twice. I don't think we will, but it's possible. They took Touche's 24 players twice. You know what I'm saying? In one season last year. So who knows? Maybe they listening and they say, you know what? Touche been on to something. We don't want to cut him some checks, but we're going to definitely take his ideas.
Run that check, Chris Greer. You have Stephen Ross. Stephen Ross has the money, so he can do it. I think Jason Keck in a previous episode in the comments, and again, appreciate Jason for all the comments. It allows us to keep on talking, new talking points, new discussions, new conversations. I think he said that the Dolphins had the 31st ranked win pass block rate.
Pass block win rate.
Which shows that the pass blocking isn't that good. And I don't think anyone would sit there and tell you that it is good. And again, we definitely need to improve the offensive line. We need to give Tua more time behind the offensive line so he can, keep on cooking, win an MVP, win a Super Bowl, all that kind of stuff. I think overall, my thing is if the board falls the way, if the Dolphins don't trade up and the board falls the way many are expecting it to fall with, let's say, 3 quarterbacks going, 1 tight end in Brock Bowers, maybe 3 tackles, I'm at 8 players, probably 3 wide receivers, I'm at 11 players. And the Dolphins could very easily get to a stage where your top tackles are off the board. You're coming at day 1, starting, make an immediate impact. Those guys are off the board. And essentially, the way the Dolphins draft board is looking like, they have offensive linemen on it, but the number one ranked player available, let's say, is a defensive end. Take the defensive end. Because if you let the defensive end pass and you try and find your offensive lineman who you don't think is worthy of a first-round pick and it doesn't pan out, you just set the franchise back. We saw it with Noah Igbenogany. I don't know how the Dolphins got to take Noah Igbenogany in the first round, but he wasn't a first-round pick. And they let better players pass because they tried to fill an area of need. Same with Charles Harris. They tried to fill an area of need, essentially chose the wrong person. They probably should have chose TJ Watt. But if you're drafting for need instead of going best player available, it doesn't always work out because the best player available, like the Dolphins still need defensive end help. Like it's not like we are overly stacked at defensive end. If the Dolphins get an elite edge rusher who can make plays from day 1, not only do you have your long-term partner for Jalen Phillips, but you also have your replacement for friend of the podcast, Bradley Chubb, when he eventually departs. Like, I can understand the need to go offensive line, but there's 7 rounds of the draft, not to mention free agents, and not to mention once the draft finish, you can go and pick up someone else via trade. You got all this cap money come in. It just doesn't have to be offensive line in the first round. The season doesn't start until September.
All right, so me and you disagree again, which is good. Shout out to Tua Tagovailoa because he gets the ball out faster than any other quarterback in the NFL, and he has been getting the ball out faster than any other quarterback in the NFL for the past 3 seasons. And that's because the O-line doesn't hold up good enough. So you would like to see things develop. So, for example, everyone complains about, Tua is not mobile enough and he doesn't get jiggy in the pocket and we need a different quarterback because Tua can't avoid pressure or something like that, right? Whatever they be saying. And my thing is, why does he have to be mobile if your O-line was protecting him to where he doesn't have to scramble for his life? So if you protect him, then it enables you to sit in the pocket a la all these other pocket passers. And one will argue, that was a different NFL. I don't think so. But you have what Mike Gesicki said, world-class receivers on your team. So why not give your quarterback time to get to these world-class receivers as opposed to forcing your quarterback to have the highest release, fastest release in the NFL. Like, he has to have the fastest release in the NFL. So in your example, Kadeem, you basically said if there are no first round tackles available and the best player available was a different position, then go best player available. I believe there will be tackles available back at 21. And I think tackle is super deep in this draft, and it's going to get to a point where you're looking at some first round tackles that go into the second round, and you're going to be sitting there at 21. And I honestly believe the Dolphins may consider trading back to acquire a third round pick because offensive tackle is so deep. So that's just my opinion. Again, there are multiple. Shout out to everyone who's watching us for the first time. You'll hear this phrase that I say, when you put in your maps and they give you put in your destination on maps, and it gives you multiple directions to get to your destination. And that's what we're doing here. Like, you have multiple directions to get to the desired address. And what we want is a successful team and a Super Bowl. And I just feel like if you have the deepest draft ever, maybe not ever, but in a long time at tackle, why not use it to your advantage? And you might mess around and have one of these Fatanus back there just waiting to be taken, and you're just gonna pass up on it because our two DNs are hurt. I don't like that.
I think the one thing I keep interesting is that if the Dolphins board has someone at the top, I'm very much of the opinion you can find an offensive lineman to take at 21 and move back a few spots. I've just always said if the Dolphins believe that the best person on their board, because again, NFL draft boards are completely different to other people's draft boards. Chris Greer basically said they don't have like 21st round players on the draft board, if that makes sense.
Right.
And again, we will sit here year after year and just go, see that, like Lloyd Cushenberry starting center for was the Broncos, taking the second round, and we're like, hey, you should have taken that guy.
Tuesday's 24, Lloyd Cushenberry.
Yeah,
by the way.
So I understand you're saying that there's guys to take in the first round, and I do believe they should go that way. But it's also like where so Manolo Rivera says O-line is important, but wide receiver 3 is a need. I do agree with that.
We agree. Like, and this is the conversation. Now, I'm here for this. I'm here for a tackle being there, a receiver again is very deep in this draft, a receiver being available, and a DN. The reason why I'm more on DN than D tackle is because you don't know how long it's going to take Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb to return to performance. They might return to play. They might return to play in week 8 of this year. But how long will it take to return to performance? Because then you're paying Bradley Chubb 150 million M's. Well, 150 M's. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. You could wait for him to return to performance. So if you have someone you believe in that's sitting there, Jalen Phillips, what was he? Pick 19? And when he was drafted, 15. Like 15. My bad. All right. He was in the teens. You know what I'm saying? So you get a draft like this draft where you might have a DN fall to you. I'm like, I don't hate it, because now you put pressure on Chubb and Phillips and say, hey, we can only keep one of you. What do you want to do?
So 18. It's still in team, but 18.
I'm just saying, I know I was closer. My bad,
Yeah, and I admit that was wrong, and I said let me fact check that. So yeah,
my dog. So, but yeah, you remember Batman? What was it? Batman. Was it Batman? Which Batman is it with the Joker? Heath Ledger.
Dark Knight.
Oh my goodness, that's a good movie.
Team, man.
Hey, my dog. So you remember in Dark Knight, right? That's not Dark Knight Rises?
No, Dark Knight Rises is Bane, dude. Like,
oh my bad.
Batman Begins, Dark Knight.
My bad. I was just saying. I like Batman. I just don't like Batman like you. I'm not yet. So look, in Dark Knight, right? When the Joker says, "Hey, look, we just had a spot open up, and we're taking applications," and he basically tell the villains, "Hey, you got to fight for this spot." That's what it's going to look like when Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips comes back and we draft the DN in the first round. Like, hey, we got our future DN. We can't afford to pay both of y'all. One of y'all got to play better than the other so we could keep you. And I'm okay with that. But I'm not okay with that at the expense of Teron Armstead's replacement not being selected. And that's how we ended up here.
I get that. Trying to get through as many comments as possible. Jason Keck says O-line looked decent until injuries started happening, and then because of lack of depth and talent, offense looked like a different creature. What I will say to that for Barton over to Charlie, you can't stop injuries, and you're not going to have unlimited depth. Once you start losing starters, the backups for a reason. Like, I don't understand what people expected. The Dolphins lost essentially like three. By the end of the season, the Dolphins were down four starting offensive linemen. Teron Armstead got injured. Connor Williams season-ending injury. Isaiah Wynn season-ending injury, and Robert Hunt was injured at times as well. So essentially, there were some games where, friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson was the only healthy available offensive lineman. You're going to see a massive drop in production because you're down 4 starters. So
as you would any other team in the NFL too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I don't understand this whole. Okay, let's say the Dolphins do what everyone wants them to do, double dip the chip in the first and second rounds, so you get 2 offensive linemen. Say you get a guard and a tackle, and essentially your starting 5 is Teron Armstead, new starting tackle who can play guard, Aaron Brewer, your new starting guard, and friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson. That's your starting 5. Once you lose to an Armstead, the guard kicks out to tackle, and Isaiah Wynn steps in.
Yeah.
With me so far?
Yep.
If you then lose your two more players, you're down depth. There's nothing you can do about that.
And the Dolphins have addressed it like we all wanted to, but people just got hurt. And to your point, I ain't gonna lie, that's a pretty deep team because you have Isaiah Wynn and Liam Eichenberg available. So that's very deep. And I also say this, Kadeem, I'll be real with you. I think, and don't stat check this, but I think the Dolphins had the second most offensive combinations in the league last year. And the teams with the 2 least was the Bills and the Ravens. And they had the same O-line. I think the Bills had 2 different combination of O-lines, and the Ravens had 1. And look how deep they went. So all that being said, if the Dolphins had the same O-line the entire season, I can make the argument we're probably in the AFC Championship. We probably don't lose some of them games like the games that ended up having us go to Kansas City instead. So I can make that argument, not an excuse. It's just an argument, like a case could be made for it. Injuries are going to happen. Typically in Miami, you see the injury bug early in the year. This time it just hit us late. Like, don't forget that we were the team that everyone was talking about. We were the team that put up 70 and should have broke the record on the Broncos. You know what I'm saying? So like we were the team that everyone was talking about, had the high flying offense. We were that team in the middle of the season. And, as the season went, it's just we couldn't stay healthy. And not just O-line, bro. Like Tyreek Hill was hurt, wasn't 100. Waddle was out for like 4 weeks, came back, still wasn't 100. So
Achane was hurt. Mostert was hurt.
Yeah,
We've lost both our
Chris
defensive ends.
Chris Brooks.
We can do this all day. Manolo Ribera says, I just want to see Tua behind the San Fran O-line. That is the plan. And again, I'm not sitting here advocating for the Dolphins to go defensive line. If we did more mock drafts, or if you watch me on Twitter or on Patreon, you will see us go, hey, go offensive lineman. If anything, move up for an offensive lineman. You don't have the capital, but if you can guarantee one of these starting tackles, go and get a tackle. Go and do it. I'm just not going to... I'm not going to go mad if the Dolphins go elsewhere in the first round, especially when there's 6 more rounds left and the Dolphins can still build this offensive line. The best, it's not draft or bust.
So I got a question for you, Kadeem, and we'll get into some other things before we get into bonus time, or bonus time we get into bonus time. But I got a question for you. What do you think the Dolphins do in the draft? Like we talked about what you want the Dolphins to do. We talked about what would surprise you if the Dolphins did something. What is it that you want the Dolphins to do? My answer has been out there for a while now. I want the Dolphins to go O-line. That's what I absolutely want. And I think it'll put us in a really pretty good place, honestly. But what do you want the Dolphins to do?
I want generally I want the Dolphins to go offensive line and defensive line. I just think we lost players on both sides of the ball, and yes, we're going to get Bradley Chubb and
Jalen
Phillips back, but we also did lose Andrew Van Ginkel, lost Christian Wilkins, and again, we did bring
Raekwon Davis.
Yeah, so that's why I'm just like, and Anthony Weaver said it's going to be a hybrid scheme on defense, it's going to be rotation, all that kind of stuff, but you kind of need to bring people in to rotate them. So, yeah, again, it's as long as the Dolphins, people always say games are won and lost in the trenches. As long as the Dolphins address the trenches in the first 2 rounds, I can't be angry. You know, they might get the player wrong. It happens. But to me, it's address the trenches because again, it's a deep wide receiver class. I get it. Jason Keck said you can get wide receiver free in free agency or later draft rounds. But then I also think when the Dolphins have done that in the past, they've got stick for not addressing it early. So Jason says play easy E. That's why they drafted him right. Well, he was injured last year.
I ain't gonna lie. And I'm glad this came up. Eric Ezukama. What's our linebacker?
Jordan Baker.
No. He was drafted in the 4th round from Georgia. Channing Tindall. Bro, when people go crazy about how come we're not getting production out of Channing Tindall and Eric Ezukama, I'm like, I don't think it was expected to get whatever you get from those guys. I think that's what you get. I don't think, bro, if they're not a 1st or 2nd round pick, I think you're just happy that they give you something. Yes, you want a hit on every pick. You want a Hall of Famer in the 5th round. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Godchild, was a 5th round pick. You know what I'm saying? And he was productive for the Miami Dolphins, Devon Achane. You know what I'm saying? So when Eric Ezukama doesn't get enough targets because you have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and he was a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick.
I want to say 4th round pick, but
I kind of want to say 4th round pick too. But you know, Eric Ezukama came later, a late round pick. I'm like,
4th round.
People are complaining that 4th round picks aren't seeing the field. I'm okay with a 4th round pick not seeing the field on a Super Bowl caliber team. I'm okay with that, but I digress.
No, I think it's a valid point because me and Lee have this conversation all the time when people want teams to draft essentially studs in every single round. They get angry when 4th round or 5th round picks don't work out. But I do the 4th and 5th round pick for a reason. Channing Tindall was a 3rd round pick. I did just check. And again, 3rd round is very much hey.
Yeah, 3rd round. I switched them up. So Channing Tindall was a 3rd round and Ezukama was a 4th round. You know what you should be mad at? Not seeing 20K Cam on the field, Cam Smith. Like, maybe Cam Smith should play some more. Yeah, you know what? You're right, bro. Maybe Cam Smith should play some more. Maybe Noah Igbenogany should be a starter. You're right, bro. Noah Igbenogany should be a starter, being drafted in the 1st round. You feel me? But nah, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for those. But the other ones, 4th round picks, I'm like, yeah.
But that's the thing as well. Is that like people are calling Cam Smith a bust because he couldn't get ahead of. Now, to be fair, he should have started ahead of Eli Apple. I think that's quite fair. But towards the end of the season, when he wasn't starting ahead of Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard, now I know you'll be like, play Cam Smith over Xavier Howard, but I think for the most part, Dolphin fans were like, Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey are going to start ahead of Cam Smith. Cool, it is what it is. But they're angry at that, but not angry at Eric Ezukama not starting, despite the fact that he's got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle ahead of him. Like, I don't quite understand the logic behind that. And again, if you're drafting a wide receiver in the 4th round or later, you're drafting there for a reason. If you can contribute, great. And on other teams, maybe they will contribute more. However, you've got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill above them. Dude, what are we doing here?
I ain't gonna lie. I would have liked to see Eric Ezukama come in on a Devon Achane weight game plan. Bro, if Eric Ezukama came in jacked up like Devon Achane did, we wouldn't need to be talking about wide receiver 3. I ain't gonna lie. That is a legit thing. So you got anything else before we get into bonus time?
Just very quick. Jason Kick says, "Yeah, I realized he was hurt, but he's been in the league 3 years. He was drafted in 2022 in the 4th round. So this is his third season. He was drafted in 2022. Yeah, 2024. Played 2022, 2023. Yeah. So this is his first season. But again, in his 3 seasons in Miami, he's been behind Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Cedric Wilson. Not to mention Trent Sherfield and Craig Kraft 400.
Trent Sherfield is better than Eric Ezukama. Like I think Trent Sherfield is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL, and especially in a Miami Dolphins or San Francisco 49ers scheme. And then I like Craig Kraft too. I would like Ezukama to be better than Craig Kraft. I would like that, but Trent Sherfield, I think he's an underdog. Shout out to Sherrod Steve, just texted me just now as we're recording. But
shout out Steve. But yeah, sorry. The point I was just making was that again, I have no qualms with your 4th round wide receiver being like 5th or 6th in the depth chart when you're kind of looking at the depth chart that the Dolphins have. And again, of his 2 years in the league, he was injured for a full year of that. So essentially, you're saying why didn't he play in his rookie year? And I think that's because the Dolphins had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I don't think that's an issue. But that's
shout
just
out to Kadeem hitting us with the SAT word qualms. Hey, y'all know what time it is. About to get into bonus time. Slide over to bonus time with us. Y'all on Twitter. Y'all stay with us. Rock with us. Hit us up with more comments. We like to get back to everybody. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive. Test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's showtime. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
Hey, Kadeem.
Yo.
What you make of the second sleeve dropping for QB1? QB1 got another sleeve on the way.
Listen, the second sleeve and the bucket hat, and he's bulking up. Listen, I'm telling you now, yeah. I know I'm married, but yo, listen, Tua. And again, it's
hold on, what?
Listen, ignore what I said. Listen, yeah. Again, I just find it hilarious that people really think that Tua's not out here putting in work. Like he got better every single year since he's been drafted. He's just allow him to play golf and get tired. Like, why is it such an issue? Like, because again, have you seen how much golf Jordan Poyer's playing?
You know they homies.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but no one says anything about Jordan Poyer playing golf. But Tua can't play golf. Tua can't relax and rest.
I think that's a bad comparison. You should compare a different quarterback, like Josh Allen. Josh Allen play a lot of golf.
Well, I was just gonna say, I saw a video yesterday of Lamar Jackson playing soccer, playing football. Like it's his free time. It's off season. No one's working right now. And again, Tua didn't skip in the off season workouts. Like, listen, Tua's coming off.
MVP caliber season too. Like we talking about like, oh, well, why is it if you spent more time getting in the film room instead of getting tattoos, he'll be better. Like, bro, dog was in the MVP run in the past 2 years in a row. Like, what are we talking about?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, he had a really bad hip injury. I'm pretty sure golf's really good for your hips, like all that moving and stuff like that. Like, just again, let the guy live. I don't get it. So quickly, the Great Fins fan says Really, Kadeem? Did he really just say that? I don't know what we're talking about. Tim Camo said this earlier. Shout out to Tim Camo. I feel there's going to be a real guy at 21 in the trenches on one side of the ball. Then round 2 could fill a need. I think one pick at least needs to be D-line. If you're a Dolphins fan watching the 2024 NFL draft, you have to be hoping and praying that the teams above you are taking quarterbacks, wide receivers, a few tackles, take a tight end, take a linebacker, take a safety, take corners. Like, it's one of those things where for guys to drop, other teams need to stop. Like, for prime example, people think the first three picks are going to be quarterbacks. Hope for 4 or 5 quarterbacks to go before pick 20. Hope like 6 wide receivers to go as well. So all of a sudden, you've got 11 players gone with 9 players remaining, and you haven't even mentioned a tight end. Haven't mentioned corners, safety. I think this is the year where you're probably not going to see a running back go in the first round, but I hope one goes in the first, 20 picks and stuff like that. So, quickly and to Jason Keck, talking about Easy E. If they didn't need him, why did we draft him? Do you want to take that question, or do you want me to do it?
So I just pulled up the DraftKings app for the NFL draft this year. You go ahead and answer this question, and I'm gonna see what draft props we have for the Miami Dolphins.
Cool. So I think the Dolphins drafted Easy E in the 4th round because we speak about all the time. You do need depth, and sometimes you don't really want to see that depth because if you do, means you've lost quite a few of your starters. But you also take him going, hey, if we do need you, you can show up and do things. Again, that preseason, Easy Charlie, you was at the Falcons preseason game where Easy had that jet sweep?
Yeah. Shout out. Yes, he had a jet sweep.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, so you look good in preseason, but you're not going to drop Tyreek Hill with Jalen Waddle. It's a case of, okay, we have something here. Let's see how it develops. And you hope he takes that second-year leap, and he got injured. So again, they took him and he got injured. But again, we talk about players,
and he got some early targets too. He got attention early. Like I was like, oh, Eric Azukama getting like mentions. Him and regular season games.
Him and Skylar Thompson had like a really good connection.
Yeah.
So again, like I personally feel we can't get angry when we say we want the Dolphins to take depth, and then when that depth doesn't play because your starters are healthy, get angry at them. But yeah, I just think address the trenches. I'm not the biggest fan of trading back in the first round. I'd rather see them trade up to get a tackle, to try and get their guy. Charlie, you said it 4 years ago now. Draft Tua at pick 5, and then take pick 26 and pick 18 and go and get Tristan Wirfs. This year, Miami, get pick 21 and find a pick elsewhere, preferably not pick 55. Go and get your offensive lineman.
But how good would Tristan Wirfs and Tua be right now if they had each other, bro? Like, Tristan Wirfs was arguably the best offensive lineman in the league protecting Tom Brady as a rookie, bro.
I don't think he missed a snap all season.
Yeah, he didn't miss. I don't think he missed a snap, and I think he allowed 1 sack and then like 2 pressures. It was the wildest rookie tackle stat ever, and we could have had him. All we had to do was package both of them. But look, I got something for you. DraftKings. Everybody knows how we got 20K Cam. Maybe everyone doesn't know, but 20K Cam. You know what? No. Let me say this. I'm going to be on Same Old Dolphins today, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm going to tell you the story of how 20K Cam got his nickname 20K Cam here on Go Time Dolphins. So 8:30 p.m. Eastern today, tune in the Same Old Dolphins, friends and affiliates of Go Time Dolphins. And we're going to be talking the draft. And I'm going to tell you how 20K Cam got his name. But the props for the Miami Dolphins this draft this Thursday is a offensive lineman at minus 175. That's the money line for the Dolphins taking the offensive lineman. Defensive lineman or edge is plus 200 for the Miami Dolphins, plus 200. That's pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. That's a pretty good number. I kind of like that. Wide receiver is plus 600. That's really good. I ain't gonna lie, because Dolphins could go run receiver right there. Cornerback is plus 1,400, not the 20K cam. Like this would be this would be a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, linebackers plus 2,500. Tight end is plus 2,800. Quarterback is plus 3,000, and safety is plus 600. Oh, I'm sorry, 6,000 plus 6,000. My fault. Running back is plus 10,000, and kicker, long snapper, punter is plus 20,000. I'm not gonna lie. That line for defensive line is really good right now. Plus 200 that the Dolphins take defensive line or edge. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope we go O-line, but I can see that happening. If you're feeling lucky and you want to put some juice on something, that D-line is probably your best money bet right there.
A little easy money teaser from Charlie Touche there. Make sure you stick around this week for not only Touche's 24, which hopefully is Tuesday. Again, turn notifications on to make sure you don't miss that. But also, I don't know, Charlie, you out for the draft? Like, legitimately, or is it just me?
So I'm not going to be here for the draft, but we will have a recap. We're going to have a recap episode after day one. And matter of fact, we might have you know what, Kadeem? We didn't talk about this, but we might have a recap episode after every single day of the draft. Heard it here first on Go Time Dolphins. I did not even ask Kadeem if he was available to do it. So we might have a recap episode after every single day of the draft. But I won't be able to go live for the draft like I did last year.
I booked Friday off work, so I will be live for the draft. So please keep me company. It'll be like 2 a.m. in the morning. I need some company. But you know, there will definitely be draft recaps. I'm sure there'll be in-depth draft recaps on Patreon as well if you're not joined up to our Patreon yet. And again, if you are automatically entered into the draft giveaway to win a Dolphin 2024 NFL draft hat. If you aren't on Patreon, just comment draft in the comment section. I'll leave a 5-star review saying draft, and you will be good to go. Charlie, I missed you, man.
Hey, man, I miss you too, bro. And I'm still sorry that I didn't make your wedding in Cyprus, bro. Because I plan on going to Greece afterwards. Like, dang, bro, I'm already out here, so I might as well. But I'm gutted. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm kind of sour, bro.
We can make it up in Miami when I come down this year. 100% Miami.
Hey, so you just gonna drop that at the end of the episode that you going to Miami?
I've said it for ages. I've said it for ages. No, I've said it for ages. Listen, Miami 2024. Me, Hannah Montana. Once the schedule comes out, we're gonna hopefully do a 2-week stay in Miami. Miami, do Disney, back-to-back home games. Charlie, Miami, man.
So hear me out. Since I didn't, and we're ending the episode, and this is like not breaking news, but it's fun news. Since Kadeem is coming to Miami, for those who don't know, Kadeem is in London, England right now. If you didn't catch the accent and see the flag on Kadeem Simmons, but he's in London, England, from London, England. And I'm in the United States, born and raised Miami, Florida. Since Kadeem is coming to Miami, and he's going to catch his first Miami Dolphins home game ever, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't make Kadeem's wedding. We're going to go live and watch me give Kadeem his wedding gift to him and Hannah Montana when he comes to Miami, and we're going to go live for it. And I cannot wait to see his reaction.
I cannot wait either. Again, another teaser for the future. We shall see you on the next one. Peace.